Kamala Harris's edited interview. I don't know if you saw this, but it was pretty wild. The part that they cut out was pretty wild. Treasonous almost. They did not. Let me find this.
I have the clip here. I'll send it to you in a private chat here because I already have it pulled up here. But she was stumped like she always kind of usually was when she was asked directly, "Hey, how are you going to pay for all of your plans?" And then she was like, "Oh yeah, taxes were going to go up."
Madam Vice President, thank you very much.
Can't hear it.
I got it. It's quiet because this is off. You know,
just get just a little bit of a question, please, so I can get it over the shoulder shot.
Yeah.
1 second. Just a second. Okay, thank you.
You need me talking?
Yes, sir.
Well, we were talking about how you're going to pay for it, and I mean, I truly do mean it. Your plans are logical, make logical sense.
Mm-hmm.
The way Washington works is not logical. So how are you going to convince a divided Congress that what you say, your plans, are something that they should all agree to and provide to the American people when they've shown no inclination to do that up to this point?
Is that what you needed?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. 36 sounds.
Yes, sir. I mean, ma'am.
yeah. And then they tell them the cameras are clear, and then this comes up. That's on the video.
Cameras are off.
How will you?
Yeah, immediately when she says cameras are off. How will you?
It's going to be taxes. It's going to be literally.
It's going to be taxes. That would have tanked her entire campaign. That would have been it.
Yeah. We got to understand 60 Minutes had a dog in this larger fight here. They wanted Donald Trump to lose. They wanted Kamala Harris to win, and they were doing her bidding. They were unfairly representing her in a way that didn't represent who she was herself. And this level of kind of unfairness really needs to be highlighted here, as a lot of people are saying, we got to cancel 60 Minutes for this. Like 60 Minutes clearly is a larger institution that wasn't doing an honest day of work here throughout this entire campaign, as overwhelmingly the corporate media was running hit piece after hit piece after hit piece on Donald Trump. And then they gave these little layups to Kamala Harris everywhere she went. No one asked her a hard question. They gave her the questions beforehand. And more importantly, there was people in the corporate media that even admitted it's not just that we have to give them the questions beforehand. The administration gives us the questions that we have to ask them, and we ask them and regurgitate them.
They only aired 20 minutes of the entire 60-minute interview. They cut questions on Israel. They cut her saying that she had the biggest one was she said at the end of the interview she supported border security, and they cut that.
Yep.
They cut her.
And they were forced to release the 60-minute interview because of ongoing legal proceedings that are happening right now. I got to use the rest of my back.
So they just outright lied. Wow. I wanted to find, I had this article from the Daily Mail, which I wasn't going to watch. I was not going to watch all 60 minutes, but here are some of the things that they cut. Okay. They cut, she called Trump racist. They cut that probably because she's going to get sued.
Yeah.
She answered questions about Israel. They cut that entire section because her base hates Jews.
Right.
So it would have been bad for her.
Yep.
They cut her answer on Iran because she said that Iran was the biggest threat to the American people. This is one of the craziest lies that the administration has been pushing. Joe Biden really, really wanted to go to war with Iran. Like really, really badly. And that's why they kept saying, oh, Iran is behind the assassination attempts on Trump. Iran is, we caught the only people that tried to take Trump's life that they stopped just so happened to be Iranian. They tried to say the drones were Iranian. They
Yeah,
tried
the
to say-
Iranians allegedly hacked Roger Stone. I was with Roger Stone, and he was like, "The FBI's coming to me, trying to get my cell phone from me," and I'm like, "No, that's not going to happen here." So that's another big story as well. That was clearly just blamed on the Iranians.
They cut her answer on why she should be president. They cut her answer on NATO and the war in Ukraine. They cut her answer on her economic plan. They cut her answers on China and Taiwan. They cut her crucial line answering on the border, where she said at the end of the sentence, in the aired version, she said, Harris said in the CBS broadcast, we came into office almost hours, Bill, after our inauguration, first bill we proposed to Congress was to fix our broken immigration system. Knowing that if you actually fix it, we need Congress to act. It was not taken up. Fast forward to a moment when a bipartisan group of members of the United States Senate, including one of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, got together and came up with a border security bill. That's what they showed you. But what they cut was, which I support. She said she supported their bipartisan border bill in that interview, but publicly said she did not. Like, this would have completely tainted. I mean, this goes more into, when Joe Rogan said this about why they lied. They lied about why she wasn't on Joe Rogan.
And there was another story, blaming Dana White and Elon Musk. They persuaded Joe Rogan not to do this interview, and we saw the corporate media regurgitate that. Joe Rogan had a response to this, and this is what he had to say.
There was a thing that came out recently. There was a book. There was some book about the Kamala Harris campaign where they talked about her getting on this show. And they said a bunch of things that weren't true. They talked to supposedly talked to like 150 different people about her and what happened with her coming on the show. I don't know if it's 150. A lot of people. They didn't talk to us, and which is kind of crazy.
Oops.
And which is like they didn't even ask. But they said things that just weren't true. One of the things they said that weren't true was that we lied about the day that Trump was coming on. No, we just didn't tell you that Trump was coming on. He was already booked a long time ago. This is how it worked. Trump was really easy to book, like super easy. We offered one day. He said yes. That was it. There was no, what are we going to talk about?
Classic.
How long is it going to be? Is it going to be edited? There was nothing. What's the waiver? Here, give me that waiver. Sign it. It was so easy. So he was already booked. They never committed to doing the show. So all this talk, there was another thing they said that the reason why they did the Beyonce thing, the Beyonce event in Houston, was so that they could be in Texas to do my show. They never agreed to do the show. None of that's true. They never agreed.
That's fucked.
They also said that they sent someone down here to the studio to do a walkthrough of the set. That's not true. The Trump administration did. I mean, if they are trying to say that they, as in the entire federal government, well, I don't think the Trump, well, I guess the Secret Service is a part of the federal government. Maybe you can kind of get away with saying that because the Secret Service came down here for Trump and looked around that we sent someone down, but it was not. It was the Trump administration sent them down because they're the only ones that had a date to do the show. These people didn't have a date to do. They never agreed to do the show. This is really important. Even after Trump went on, they offered for me to come to DC and do a show with Kamala. But even then, it was the same deal. It was only like 45 minutes to an hour. And, it was not on my set. And I said that, look, he did it here. We should probably do it here. Like, if it's possible to do it here. Obviously, when he did it, it had an enormous result. I'm willing to do the same thing for her. I wanted to release both of them on the same day.
Could you imagine? That would have been
I was trying to figure out if there's a way that I could do it. And I even offered to do it late that night. So the night that Trump came on, I'm like, what if we do her like when she's done in Texas? If she came here, but no one ever committed to doing it. This is like really important because they keep pretending that I lied or I did this or I did that. They never committed to doing it. Well, we went through. I've got a whole, we have all the receipts, by the way.
Of course.
I have a whole.
I mean, the fact that Trump was just like, I'll do it. Nothing's off top.
Right.
Like that's ultimate baller move.
Oh, yeah.
Kamala can't do that. This was a risk for Kamala because everyone would have seen her in a totally unedited live conversation, no holds bar for 2 hours. man, I mean, I was really hoping that would have happened, even though some people on the right wing were saying, I just hope it doesn't happen. I don't want it to happen. I really
I
was
wanted
hoping
it,
would have
baby.
happened.
It would have tanked her. She would have lost even more votes because she's an inauthentic person, and it's something that
Right.
as humans we are uniquely. I don't know if it's something in our brains or we can smell that stuff. Like
Mhm.
we know when somebody's being inauthentic. We know when somebody's full of it, and that's exactly what would have happened. So.
And the more you let them talk, the harder it is to keep the charade going.
Yes.
So if she
yeah.
would have been on a 2-3 hour podcast, that'd be tough for her to keep that going.